What does this say about Trey Lance, who he says is 100% healthy? You got reports of Sam Darnold really being on his heels for the QB2 job. Sam Darnold, Jerm, really? For a guy that was picked third overall, 3 first-round picks for him? And I know Trey Lance can't help that all of that was traded for him. He just wanted to
Right.
go to the league.
Yeah.
What does this say about Trey Lance? So I've seen a lot of people talking about it, and I'm like, damn, is it really fair to bring up? But with Shanahan saying it's Purdy's, like, what does this really say about Trey?
I mean, it shows that he's not good. Like he's not. It does it not? I mean,
Yeah.
think about it. He's been there 3 years. He still. I mean, we just watched him in the preseason. He cannot process what is happening with the defense as the
Yeah.
play. It's weird. It's just a weird. You know, I. They looked at. You know who I thought the Niners were getting? They thought they were getting a Patrick Mahomes. They
Mhm.
thought they saw a guy who was a gunslinger that could improvise and was
Yeah.
going to let his athleticism make the plays for him.
Yep.
The problem is
I call him an
Patrick Mahomes,
unpolished Josh Allen or Cam Newton, honestly. It's
yes,
kinda how he played in college.
and they thought they were going to get that. And the problem is those guys know how to process the defense.
Yep.
They play with instinct. And I think maybe the kid's a little rattled. Maybe this situation with, I mean, if you watched the joint practices, if you've been following the joint practices between the
Right.
Raiders and the Niners and then the preseason game, you
Right.
said that that was Jimmy G's team. There could be an argument that it's still Jimmy G's team. Everybody ran over to Jimmy G.
Right.
Everybody loved Jimmy G. The
Right.
reports of last year, even when Brock Purdy, people were saying when Jimmy G, because he got hurt,
Right.
that they wanted Jimmy G back. Like it was, the players were very pro Jimmy G, and it was
Hell
clear that
yeah.
Shanahan was
He worked
anti
hard
Jimmy
for
G
that locker room.
for whatever. You like, and people have jokes for Jimmy G. You can say whatever you want about Jimmy G. His
Right.
efficiency rating, his win-loss record, the team's performance when he wasn't the starter versus when he was the starter, up until Brock Purdy, you could not deny that Jimmy G was good for that team.
Right.
And don't trust the analytics, don't trust the media, don't trust guys like us talking. Look at the players, look at the interaction. Like
Oh,
they
yeah.
were all about him. And so it says that Trey Lance just isn't who that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch thought he was.
He
That's what
is
it says to
not
me.
who we thought he
Yeah,
was.
yeah. Rest in peace, Dennis Allen.
Yeah. Man, yeah. It's an interesting situation for Trey Lance because I liked him as a prospect. I knew he was very raw. I knew
Dennis
COVID
Green.
really
Sorry,
messed up. Yeah, no, you're good. That's
Dennis
why I
Green.
laughed. I
Sorry.
was like, you said
Yeah,
R.I.P. Dennis Allen because
yeah,
his job's coming up soon.
yeah. That's your coach.
um,
My bad. My bad.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's okay, bro. It's fine.
yeah.
But yeah, it's really interesting with Trey Lance because I liked him as a prospect. I personally think he's got great attributes. But he does have that difficulty of processing the game. And I can't say specifically that he's not good. I just can't go out on that one liner and say that he's 2-2.
Mhm.
I'm not even mimicking the record or talking like, excuse me,
Yeah,
I'm not using the record as a direct comparison, but he's literally been in 4 games.
gotcha.
Well, excuse me, a little more than that, of
Yeah.
course. But
But
hasn't even
Mr.
thrown
Irrelevant is beating him out for a job.
right.
I, I mean, I mean,
Right.
come on. Yeah.
Right. 100%. And here's what I'm getting into, right? So it's just clear whether he's not good. I think we know for a fact that he's not ready yet.
Right.
He's not ready to take the QB1 role. He's 2-2 as a starter. He's thrown 102 passes in this league, 55% completion, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, minimal college experience, as we know. So that doesn't necessarily set up for a player that is, going to take you far to the promised land, really hold up to these expectations, have, that the people that are actually faithful to the Bay do, folks in San Francisco, people in California actually watching this team, and they're expecting a lot because it was a haul. I mean, we literally had whole segments, and now we have whole segments about draft capital in trades. What did it go into? I'm not here for the whole, oh, well, this pick turned into this, and now he's, a top 5 receiver. You don't know that until it happens. You give
Right.
up picks because you see the player in front of you and you want to go grab him. And honestly, my brain's just like, damn, I got to see he switched there and then they picked them. Like, no,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
I hate
draft
that.
capital at the end of the day that they willingly gave up. Any of them could have turned into a bust. Any of them could have turned into a star. You still willingly gave up 3 first-round picks to go get Trey Lance. And I got to love John Lynch for what he's saying here, right? The GM of the team spoke highly of him as a player, from processing the game to growing as a player. And he's saying the right things, right? He's
You're supposed to. Yeah.
right. He's doing what he's supposed to. Legendary guy. Obviously a legendary franchise trying to create, this legendary run with this team. And he's done a great job building the team. I like Shanahan as the coach. I love the roster. I mean, one of the most complete. Feels like they got one or two of maybe everything,
Yeah.
But Lance is coming off that ankle injury, but he said he's 100%. He said, quote, "The ankle does not bother me at all. I don't even think about it while I'm practicing. I don't think it's holding me back at all." So now for us to know that, and again, I get it. You haven't thrown a lot of passes, 5 touchdowns, 3 picks, minimal college experience, as we know. We understand that about Trey Lance, but the NFL, the more I cover this league, the more I do this show, the more I love doing this, the more I realize that it really does stand for not for long. It is a not for long league, and Trey Lance has not shown enough yet. That's why the very last pick in the NFL draft that the Niners took has the QB1 job. I mean, if you're saying someone has to melt in practice, they've got it far and away, passing the test from flying colors, right? But to know that Sam Darnold could possibly beat him out as the backup, because right now it's, Brock 1, Trey 2, Sam 3. If Sam really gets the QB2 spot over Trey Lance, I think it's done.
Yeah.
I think that right there will really seal it. But I mean, we're talking about Sam Darnold. I don't care what he did with the Panthers early on. I understand it was like early in the season.
Undefeated, 3-0.
Hey, man, it is what it is. The rushing touchdowns. You can say nothing about Sam Darnold. He was up there. And rightfully so. He played all right, but then the schedule played out. We saw, I think, what Matt Rule at the time was doing, and overall it was just a really rough outing. We know how we saw it goes with the Jets. We don't even need to go into that. And I just think this goes to show, and this actually kind of just hit me, Jerm. We know what Jimmy G was. Biggest game manager out there, but he did it. Brock Purdy, he did it. Sam Darnold maybe is at that point to where all he can do is just game manage, because he's clearly not even a good quarterback, or even would say average. Like he's average to bad, usually bad in most occasions. If Trey Lance can't even get that down to beat out Sam Darnold in a very, very simple offense, I'm sure that maybe not a simple offense, but it's clear that what he requires from the quarterback is not a lot. And maybe he's trying to make it different for Lance, right? Because Lance is clearly crazier athlete than Jimmy G, than Brock Purdy, than Sam Darnold. But if he's not getting it, that's just a major, major, major red flag for me. And I think Niners fans should really be concerned about this possibly playing out. I know we're just talking about depth chart movement, but when you say that Purdy would have to melt, it's something's clearly happening there, to where it's not looking too too favorable, rather, for for Trey Lance. But nonetheless, y'all get in the comments, get in the chat, let us know what you think.